Welcome back to the channel, everyone, for this episode 35 of the Own the Map Challenge here on Monteith with me, Farmer Murphy. Well, it is mid-November here on the farm. I am currently doing the last of our fall tillage work that we need to get done. All the other fields have been taken care of. So obviously harvest is over. And this will be the last episode on this map because we do have enough crop on hand to pay off our debt, which was the last thing that we needed to do to complete the challenge. We've owned all the farmable land, well, for a little over a year here on farm, I guess it would be. And it's just a matter of when we'll be able to pay all this debt off. Now, this harvest, we got 2.1 million liters of corn and 863,000 liters of soybean. So that's in our silo right now, being dried down, getting ready to be sold. Now, I'll remind you that we need to pay off $2.3 million, just a tiny little bit less than that, to clear off the last of our debts. And our bank account is currently sitting at $900,000. That's after all of the sale of all of the straw bales and that we had over harvest. Now we have paid off all our expenses, so Bill and Harold have been paid, and I believe I have enough propane in the tank to finish the dry down process. If I don't, we're not going to need a whole lot more. So that gets us, I was going to say that gets us very close, but you don't know how close. I forgot to tell you that part. According to time-saving stock check, we can sell our corn that we've dried down for $1.3 million, either the end of next month or beginning of the following month. And like I said, we have $900,000 in the bank, so that gets us very close. Now, we still are going to have some expenses though, because we still have to service the debt that we have, and our monthly bank payments are over $10,000 right now. So what I am going to do is I'm going to take some of that $900,000 and pay some of that debt off now so that we can mitigate some of that expense, because what we have is actually three loans. We have a $500,000 loan, a $400,000 loan, and then the big $1.5 million loan we took to buy the last field that we needed. So I should be able to pay off the $500,000 loan, which will reduce our monthly payment some. But that's not going to eliminate them, so we're going to have those expenses. So we need to kind of make up, in round numbers, about $100,000. Well, you may have noticed when we were heading the other direction, we do have some silage bales still sitting in the field because we did have our last cutting. Now we can't sell all of our silage bales because we do need to hold back somewhere between 25 and 30 bales. I'll have to look, but in that neighborhood anyways, for animal feed. So we won't be able to sell them all, but I'm thinking we should get $100,000 out of what's left. That's my hope anyways. But we also have, I don't believe that the time-saving stock check app takes into account the environmental score. So I think we'll get some extra there, and I think our environmental score is running at about 14% or something like that, in that range, 13-14%. So we should be good. We won't have a lot left over, but we should be able to pay that loan off, like I say, either the end of next month or the beginning of the following month, something like that. And at that point, we won't have any expenses that we need to worry about. So we don't need to have a whole lot in the bank. And then, of course, come June or thereabouts, we can sell our soybean. And of course, if we had to, we could sell our soybean before that point if money became an issue on the farm. So that is where we're at. I'm kind of surprised, but I'm thinking that we'll get home with just the corn sales. But if we don't, then we'll just have to jump ahead till June and pay it off then. But in any event, this season's crops will get us out of debt, which then, of course, will officially end the challenge for us here. Oh, I missed a little bit there. Actually, I missed a little bit over here too, I think. Just a tiny little spot, but we might as well pick it up. Well, I will leave you there, I think. I will finish up this field. Like I said, it's the last one we need to have done. And I will bring you back in after the corn sale. And of course, after we've sold our silage bales that we have available to sell. And we'll see if we're at the point where we can get out of debt. I'm thinking we should. But anyways, we'll know, well, for you, you'll know in just a second. For me, it's going to take a little bit longer because not only do I need to finish this, but I need to get all that corn sold. So I'll catch up with you in a month or two. See you then. Welcome back, everybody. We are in January and all of the corn has been sold. So where are we at? If we go in here and take a look at the map, you'll see that we are 1.8 million, just slightly over. And we can also confirm we own all of the purchasable land on the map. Now, in the original iteration of the map, you could buy this section down here for 18 million, I think it was. And there is, once you get through the forested area, like down at the bottom, there's some fields you could work, but you are no longer able to buy that. And just while we're here, let's take a look. And you can see we are now down to 1.482 million in debt. So I did pay off the 400 and the $500,000 loan once we sold our excess silage bales. And I believe that left us with 180,000. I think it was 182,000, I believe. And then, like I said, I sold our dry corn, and that took us up to 1.8 million. So more than enough to pay that off. And just one last thing I'll show you is indeed we have no longer any vehicles on lease. So own the map and are debt free. Well, will be when I pay the loan off. I'll do that here in a bit. But I recorded some numbers that I thought you might find interesting. So I've driven 5,592 kilometers on the map. We've used 91,680 liters of fuel. We've made 8,111 bales. Honestly, I thought that number would be bigger. it sure felt bigger. We've used 82,106 liters of seed. That's just a little bit of seed. And we bought all that, by the way. We didn't manufacture any of that. We bought it. And the one that really amazes me, and I'm going to take this one with a grain of salt. I just can't believe it, but that's what it says. 1,659,266 liters of liquid fertilizer. That is crazy. I don't know if that's broken or not. That just blows my mind. 1.6 million liters of liquid fertilizer. I mean, we used a lot of fertilizer, but I don't know. That seems like a lot. And we just ticked over 500 hours. And you want to know something that I didn't realize until just a few moments ago when I started recording this? I had forgotten we had done a reset on this map. We had a update that needed a new game save, and so I can't remember if that was at end of year one or end of year two. I honestly can't remember, but it was in that area. And on this iteration of the map, we are at 12 years. We're in year 12 now. But like I said, there's at least one or two more years. And of course, those stats would have gone up a little bit as well. So we have spent some time. It took us a while uh, to complete this. And as you might recall, we started with absolutely nothing and started by oops started by renting this house right here that we eventually bought. But we had not a penny to our name. So I kind of gave it away there. We are going to do a bit of a flyover here. I guess we need to be in the other viewer. That'll look kind of dorky. We're going to fly around and take a look at the map, and I'll just point out some changes. Now, here at this farm, where it all started, like I said, we started renting this property. There are actually no changes at all down here except for the addition of that corn silo right there. But this, oh, and that light. But this is original. We changed nothing here. Gain a little elevation. If we go over here, um, this is original pen and everything. The only thing we added was the manure heap for collecting the manure, obviously. So no changes there. Now this field here, obviously, big changes because this is a combination of a couple fields, and you can actually see the delineation lines because I had to cultivate those because I easy dev'd the field textures in, but of course it didn't do where the old field boundaries were, so you can see the changes we made there. So this is the river field down here, fairly good sized field, and again it's a combination of a couple fields. And if we go along here, there is one, our main grass field right there, as you can recall. Field 2 here had no changes. And then over here, 3 and 4 were combined, but that was fairly recent. And of course, across the river, we have our cabin and Bill's place. Now we don't own this land, but through the magic of script mods available on PC, I was able to put that there. Now here, this area, there is nothing original left. None of this is original. All the original buildings over the course of the 12 years have been replaced and new buildings put down. So this area is entirely new. And you can see everything is tucked away for the winter. This field I called the shop field is a combination of what? 1, 2, 3, 4 fields actually. It took to combine and make that field. And then field 15 here, we never changed other than there was a grassy area here at the top that I, of course, plowed out and added to it because we had no access when there's crop in the field. And this is field 16, just expanded just a tiny bit, you can see, but no major changes there. And of course, this is now what Sam and Sarah's place looks like. They've got their horses in, which you've seen. They've got a cow pen. I think they've got like 15 cows, 12, 15 cows, something like that, in their cow pen and their chicken coop. But this is their place. Looks pretty good, I think. And then this field here came with Sam and Sarah's plot when they bought it, and we just used it for uh, grass. We never did put anything else in there. And of course, no changes down here. So that is it. That is Monteith, and that's what we've done with it. Was a ton of fun to play. I really enjoyed it. Too bad about the issues we had here right at the end, but thankfully it was right at the end and we were able to finish things up. I had a thought at one time of carrying on and accumulating enough money that we could have bought that land down south of the river, but that would take approximately another 6 years, I would estimate, maybe 5, 6 years anyway. But that is where we're at. Now, of course, we've got the soybean we could sell come June, but yeah, we're not going to be here, to be honest with you. So now what I want to do is I did something at the end of New Frontier, and I had a request to do that again. I guess one person in particular really enjoyed that, so I am going to do the equipment on parade again. I think probably in this field here is where I'll do it. But that's going to take me a little time to get set up. I intentionally have everything tucked away in the sheds. You've seen what sheds there are. I think you'll be amazed as I am at all of the stuff I'm going to pull out of these sheds when we get it all displayed. So give me a few minutes and I will get that done. And then we will say our final farewell to here on Monteith. All right, the equipment parade is set up. So let's start here. This is the equipment that was at Sam and Sarah's place. Now the old 3020, that was a transfer. He was using it for his animals, but we still did use it to ted our hay. And in fact, we just used it this fall to make hay. But this equipment was down at their place. And then we have Sam's pickup. Now, it didn't get a lot of camera time, admittedly, nor did his side-by-side. There were plans, but they didn't work out. Then, of course, we have Bill's old pickup. Wouldn't have been able to do this without Bill's help. And then the shop's propane delivery truck. And that bad boy, it did get a workout. We went through 200,000 liters, or in the process of going through 200,000 liters of propane this fall. Now here is our field work equipment, a couple plows. I hung on to this plow, this 3.1, just to do any fine work that we needed to do, but these days most of the plowing was done with this bad boy. But we had that 3-point plow in the early days for contracts. Our cultivator, which hasn't seen a lot of work recently, but we did a lot of cultivating contracts with that bad boy. Then our large roller, our harrows we used as mulchers, and then our planter and our seeder. And this row here is pretty much the domain of the big boys. We use the big tractors for that. And then some smaller but no less important equipment back here for dealing with our crops. Our lime spreader, which I really love, especially combined with our 8R we'll see in just a minute. Trailer for carting the rocks, pretty much all that was used for. Our rock picker, our fertilizer tender that we pulled behind our planter once we started putting fertilizer in the ground while planting. A leftover from the contract days, a weeder that I just never sold off, but it was still here on the farm, so I don't know, can't even remember the last time that was used, but we did do a lot of contracts with that at one point. Our sprayer, which initially did our fertilizing and weeding, but lately has just been doing our weeding for us because we've been putting our fertilizer in the ground when we seed. Our fuel tender, which particularly during harvest did get pressed into service quite a bit because our harvesters did chew through the fuel, and then our seed slash fertilizer tender. Really liked playing with this. It was a little persnickety sometimes to get unloaded, but well worth it. Really enjoyed playing with it. You can see I still have some supplies left on from last spring. Then we come to, I don't know if you call them the stars of the show, but co-stars for sure. Our two harvesters, our two X9s with their headers. As you can imagine, they got pressed into service a lot. They're responsible for a lot of that diesel got burnt up. So we had two of those we did harvest with. And then our custom painted grain cart, as you may recall, we had R9 to go with that we ended up upgrading for a newer model. And then another trailer that we use with the semi is our B train here for hauling the grain. And we come down here kind of like our animal support row. Now, the animals never paid for this equipment. I guess you could say the silage did though. But yeah, we did sell animals sporadically here and there, but basically it was in groups of 5, wasn't worth a lot of money. And of course, it didn't help that Farmer Murphy at one point killed them all off. And if you want to find out how that happened, you'll have to go back and watch if you haven't seen that already. But our mower that we used, we actually ended up with 2 balers to keep up with the mostly not so much the silage making, but to make all the straw bales because that became so lucrative. I just carried on making all those straw bales, keeping the few we need, and selling them. We got about $500,000 every year from the straw here at the end. Not because straw was valuable, it's just we made so much of it. So uh, I always carried on with that. If I hadn't of, we would have been delayed in paying that loan off by at least a year, probably 2. Our mixing wagon that we use, self-propelled, really like that until it started falling through the map. That, I'll definitely use those again. I still think they're ugly, but boy, they work good. And then Sam's recent contribution to the farm, big front loader and the manure spreader. And I was said it would take a long time to pay that off because those two cost us, I think, nearly $1 million. But when I see that we were buying, what was it, 1.6 million liters of liquid fertilizer, they might have been paid for themselves a little sooner than I thought. And then our trailer we used to pick our bales up with our semi again. All right, now to the stars of the show. Start off with our buggy here that we beetled around the map with and did our scanning. Our scanner's on there, so we used that to do all our scanning. Our wife's Skoda. I bet you guys all forgot about that because I did. Almost left it behind. Then our pickup truck, or flatbed one-ton truck that's been on the map almost from the beginning. One of the very first vehicles, well, at the time we leased. Actually, it might have been the first. So it's been around for a long time. And that was kind of our fuel tender. It had a fuel tank on the back, and then soon that wasn't enough, and we pulled the trailer with it. And then we had our chainsaw on for maintenance for the annoying trees. Um, then our Kenworth, which has been around a fair while. Um, our two 6Rs, which were, I don't know if you want to call them upgrades. They're actually horsepower downgrades from the tractors that were on the farm, but were more suitable for the work we need to do. They were our big baling team. Rock picking they were used for as well. It's their primary jobs. Then my beloved 8R. It's been on the farm a fair while as well. Um, yeah, really like that tractor. And then the two big dogs um, that did all our field work and our carting, planting, all of that stuff you've seen in the front row. And that is it. I don't think it's quite as an impressive array as what we had on New Frontier, but still, nonetheless, pretty darn impressive, I think. That's what it took to run this farm. Now, I did have some upgrades or additions I was going to make, but I didn't do it simply because it was going to delay this uh, for us to be able to kind of wrap things up here. And I will say, it felt kind of bad. And then setting this up, the map reminded me why we were doing this a couple times. Like, for example, our planter at one point fell halfway through the map. Yeah, I had to reset it. So, yeah, I don't fault the map for that. It has worked flawlessly to the latest updates, but it was a really, really early map. And yeah, it's just, time to move on. Let's just say that. But I don't fault the map uh, because, like I said, early map, and it did work good for a long time. We would have never noticed if we were just a little bit quicker. But anyways, I want to thank all of you who supported this series. I really do appreciate it very much. And it's because of your support. I wasn't planning on doing this review and setting it up, but a member who has been a fantastic support to the channel in general really enjoyed the last one I did. So that was for you, Farmer Sims. I hope you enjoyed it. But again, can't thank each of you enough. What is next, you may be wondering? Well, for now, I'm just going to concentrate on Sudbury. I do have plans, believe me, but I decided to go down to a single series in conjunction with Farmer Mike's just till the fall because it is summer. And I am not going to say any more, but there may be some big plans afoot. Let's just leave it at that. And you'll just have to stay tuned and you'll see more about that come fall. Anyways, if you're still with me, I really do appreciate you watching. And you know what? If this is the first episode you've seen it, and I encourage you to go back, check out the rest, and hit that like and subscribe button. I'd really appreciate that too. Don't forget about that old notification bell if you want to see when other content like this lands. But for the last time, it is me, Farmer Murphy, saying farewell from Monteith.